High school's a weird beast. Yuri drowning in people, yet can feel like the only soul in the room that was. Me, Luke Jackson, 17, never the jock, never the clown, just a face lost in the coastal Maine fog off our Portland suburbs halls. I wasn't battle looking. Some said I was sharp-buted. Didn't matter, I had a knack for drawing the wrong eyes. The bullies, they mocked my clothes. My voice, my existency, a daily grind that wore me thin. One morning hiding in the classroom's back row, my usual tormentor Chris Grant. 18 decided to crank up the misery cries, loved flexing his gym rat arms, ruling the cafeteria with his loud swagger, shrinking everyone, especially me. Hey, his voice boomed. Forget your brain today. Are you just making us look bad with that pretty face? His cruelslaughter stung like salt spray. I shrank, eyes down, but then a low voice cut through, sharp as a blade. Leave him alone. Chris' heads turned and my breath caught. There stood Lucas Reed, 18. Like a storm carved into flesh, tall, broad, with a line that could slice glass and ice, that burned through you, smoldering with quiet power. He rarely spoke, yet his presence demanded silence, his gaze, the lights stirring a heat I didn't expect. Chris squinted, sizing him up. What's it to you? Lucas got a problem? No. Lucas crossed his arms, his stare ice electric. Not in the mood for your garbage today. His voice, smooth and deep, shrank Chris to nothing. Chris left, shoving past, muttering curses. I stood frozen, heart-amaring. Lucas tornado me, his lips curving softly, a flicker of warmth in his eyes that sent a shiver down my spine. You okay? He asked, voice softer like a low tide. Yeah, fine. Is still reeling that Lucas, Reed, untouchable, unreal, had stepped in for me. He nodded, walking off, but glanced back, eyes lingering. If anyone bugs you, tell 'em the days after were surreal, like I tripped into a dream. I couldn't shake Lucas's voice, his gaze. Though I told myself it was just gratitude, like thanking someone for shooing a stray dog, but this felt heavier, sharper. Next day, crossing the foggy quad to class, I spotted him, leaning against a locker, effortless, in a way that made my chest heighten. Wind tousled hair, a laugh that rolled like waves. His eyes caught mine and I ducked, staring at my sneaker scuffs, pulse racing. Luke, he called, voice tugging me back. I turned, half expecting a prank, but his smirk was disarming, a glint in his gaze that warmed my skin. Not busy, right? Walk with them to class. I don't bite unless you ask, niece. I blinked, brain short-circuiting. Was real? Lucas Reed asking me to walk it felt like a movie's opening scene. Andy wasn't sure if I'd star or fumble. Sure, I mumbled, cheeks burning, shrugging toe. Play it cool, spoiler. I didn't. Whooped his stride, easy throwing glance that felt like sparks, teasing but warm. So, Luke, he said, voice low, velvet. Got any hidden talents? Juggle, play guitar. Elod, nervous. Nah, I can barely juggle me homework. His chuckle was deep, rumbling through me, making my heart skip there. But you've got something genius vibe. Maybe, or you just stare folks down till they bolt. I grinned, leaning in thoughts. My tricks stare long enough, they think I'm plotting. Lucas's laugh lit his foo's eyes, crinkling close enough. I caught a hint of cedar on him, stirring arseless pulse. Mind redater. Huh. Makisu, scarier than you look. I mock, glare adieu. Don't know half of it. He was normal, funny, real, not some distant god. We hit class, and I didn't want it to end. But Lucas paused at the door, voice soft. Westhold, hang sometime outside school. Teach me that stare. I froze. Hang with Mehi. Shrugged, eyes warm. Why not? You're a cool Luke. I see you sitting alone. Cold deuce, a friend. My heart flipped. Yeast sounds great, I said, barely breathing. Hesmold softer and walked off. I stood stunned as texts started later. Jokes memes of a coffee meet where I spilled meat. Latte classic Luke. He laughed and I realized he wasn't just being nice, he saw me, and maybe, just maybe, I was starting to see him to know big Delright Lucas and I talked about everything favorite movies. Dumb school stunts cringy kid memories turns out. Lucas was a total goof once like when he tried backflips to impress a crush and landed in the nurse's officered faced but one moment burned into messharp and unshakable we were at his spot, the school courtyard ocean breeze, carrying salt and promise. The football field sprawling below, Lucas leaned closely his breath, warm stirring, a spark and dropped. A bomb casual as fog rolling in so, he said eyes glinting like selusive bin meaning to tell. You something G raised an eyebrow, heart tripping wits. Up he paused and for a splitsecond I braced for something heavy I'm kind of in love with you. Luke I choked in air he smirked, teasing but his gaze held weight, what you didn't notice Evie Bean. Throwing myself at you for weeks too busy staring at my arms. My brain flatlined, serious joking. My pulse-thundered palms, slick as he leaned closer voice, low raw, I'm not kidding. Luke I like you a lot, and I think you'll like me too. My heart roared. So loud I swore he hearted. I couldn't speak, but truth clawed out dia. I whispered stomach flipping he thinked. I do just like that the world shifted, the awkwardness dissolved, and he wasn't the weird kid. Anymore maybe I waste guy Lucas could love a week ago I was dodging Chris's taunts in class, now I was beside Lucas's laugh aching me said's his confession. Echoing like a waveway hung out more and being with him ways effortless, no pressure, just us like we'd known each other forever his flirty and teasing glances turned minto, a blushing mess, my words tangling every time his eyes caught mine warm and piercing like sunlight on water on Minvening. We strolled through a Portland park after school, the air crisp, sunsets plashing pink and gold. Across the sky our shoulders brushed a quiet jolt spurking, where our jackets grazered sending heat curling through me. He glanced at him trying to play it cool so a weekend plans. I asked dodging me own racing thoughts, Lucas's smirk danced eyes twinkling. Under the fading light, that cafe you love, the one with crap Wi-Fi and overpriced lattes elod where I spilled my drink last time. You sure you want to risk that ya? Said grin widening, but I'll save your shirt, this time I'm a pro at ladder. I rolled my eyes some hero Helland invoice velvet teasing I live to serve. His laugh wrapped around me soft electric and I let it pull me under Wesload stopping face to face the park shush. Folding around us leaves whispering and the breeze his gaze softened closine. I caught a hint of cedar on him stirring my pulse. Luke, he said. Low deliberate this us, it's real to me. My breath hitched feels real to me too. I admitted voice shaky but you're Lucasavarian star and I'm just me, the kid hoping to survive high school. He stepped closer, his hand brushing mine warm grounding, sending a shiver up my arm. That's it. Luke, I've seen you forever kind sharp real. It's not about status it's us because it fits words failed Memmy heart a wild drum as his. Thumb grazed me knuckles, a quiet promise let me take-o somewhere. He murmured, just us. Inaudible speechless, his eyes holding Melik I, was all that mattered. We hit that cave same cozy dive where I'd spilled my lat, now sacred for us we snagged. A window table sipping drinks in Isa quiet, the world outside fading. Lucas grinned raising an eyebrow his voice warm. Teasing latte holding up no spilsy, smirked calmer now think, I've got it finally mastered cup, holding his Lavoie's music low and bright, and I felt it normal happy home, the night blurred with banter and stolen glances, his knee brushing mine under the table, a fleeting warmth that settled deep. I wasn't out offless, I belonged as we parted under streetlights. Lucas's smile lingered soft. Sure glad we did this, me too, I said. Heart still racing, this is good and it was simple, real, a beginning. I hadn't dared dream, he smiled, leaning in his lips, brushing my cheek, warm and fleeting, sparking heat that lingered. Good, see you tomorrow. Definitely, I replied, dizzy as he walked off, his silhouette fading into the mist. Life had a way of flipping the script. Just months ago, I was invisible, dodge bullies now. Lucas was my world, and I couldn't imagine it otherwise. It felt like a dream, but I kept waiting for too perfect, too unreal. What if they saw me as a pity project? But at his house his crew was chill, goofy, loud, pulling me into their banter like idle ways belonged. Lucas watched from across the room, his proud grin catching the light, warming me through. Later, sprawled on his couch, a bad rom-com, flickering, his arm draped over my shoulders. A casual touch, thought, sent a quiet jolt down my spine. I told you'd fit, he murmured, pulling me closes, my head resting against his chest, his heartbeat steady under my ear, gesturing not to bomb. I said, grinning, hetch a cold breath, teasing my hair. Luke, you're perfect like this, can't mess up with me. His words hit deep. Not flattery but truth from Lucas the Guyaverian. Chaste, calling me perfect. You think so? I asked, half doubting, high size softened hand grazing my jaw, warm, tilting my face up. I don't say what I didn't mean. You're real, Luke, more than in of my chest. Tightened, his sincere time melting my edges. Don't know what I did to get you, I whispered. Just you, he said, thumb brushing my cheek, a spark flaring softly. Next week, we hit a beach near Canobunk. Sun blazing, Lucas renting a cabin for just us. No school, no noise, just freedom. He kicked off his shoes, sprinting to the waves, and I chased him, sand flying, his laugh pulling me in. He splashed me, water cold and sharp, and I gasped, mock outraged. You'll pay, read elabbed, wet sand missing as he daged, eyes dancing. We locked gazes, breathless laughter fading. The air thick with something unspoken, his wet shirt clung to him, outlining every line, stirring a restless pulse in me. Lucky, like you, he teased, voice low, or I dunk you again. I smirked, try it tough. He lunged, scooping me up, his arm strong, warm against my back, and plunged us into the surf. I surfaced, sputtering long, cursing his grin, pure mischief. Told you, he said, water dripping from his hair. Close enough, I felt his breath. The night on the cabin's porch, stars glittered above waves, crashing softly. Lucas's arm looped around me, his warmth steadying, his fingers grazing Miss Holder, sending a shiver through thuckle air. This feels like a dream. A murmured head on his shoulder, his cedars and grounding me. He squeezed me, gently, voice quiet. It's real, Luke, I'm not going anywhere. I smiled, warmth blooming. Don't want you to. Silence settled, not awkward, but full. Us. Lucas turned, eyes soft and tense. Luke, I don't want to rush, but I like you more than I could. My heart raced, but he pressed a finger to my lips, soft, warm, stopping me. No need to say it, yet I know him, Olin. I nodded, throat tight, me tunder. That navy sky, it hit me. I wasn't just living for me anymore, but for us. Lucas and Luke, the world could spin wild, but with him, his hand in mine, his gazami anchor, nothing else mattered. This wasser start messy, real, and enough. I realized this wasn't some fleeting high school spark. It was real, built to last. Since that Kennebunk beach trip, every with Lucas felt like magic. Late night drives through Portland's foggy streets, trying new diners, laughing Tillerside's act, or just sitting inside Anetha's presence enough to steady me. The dipper I fell, the sharer I was, he felt it, to his eyes catching mine with a warmth that stirred my core. But a shadowing art school loomed, and high school wasn't exactly a haven for guys like Yusufin. With Lucas by my side, I dreaded how our bubble might burst under classmate stares. "You're quiet," Lucas said, his voice pulling me back, as we sat on Apier waves lapping below the main, dusk thick with salt and promise. I forced a smile, not wanting to dim his light, just thinking. He turned, eyes softening, thefting sun gilding his jaw. "About what?" He hesitated, words hideous. "School people will talk, Lucas. We're not exactly." He come off his finger, lifting my chin, warm, deliberate, sending a shiver through me's. "Our gaze is locked. Luke, listen, I didn't care who talks. We're real. If anyone's got a problem, that's on them, not us." His voice was a lifeline, steady, fierce, washing away my fears like that'd. I leaned into him, head on his shoulder, his cedar scent grounding mess parking, a quiet heat. "You're right," he murmured, needed to hear it. His smile flashed, the kind that set my pulse racing, his arm tightening around my fingers, grazing my neck, soft but sure. "Got your back, heaven, always. No one took us these from us." That moment felt like a vow, raw and unshakable. We weren't naive. High school could be brutal, but with Lucas nothing felt impossible. "I want this to work," he said, hand slipping into mine. His grip warm, firm, stirring a flutter in my chest. "Whatever it takes to make us lasty." Knew then this was more than a crush. It was trust, respect, something deeper than words. "I want that too," I whispered, voice catching us lasting. His fingers squeezed mine, eyes blazing with certainty. "Then we will," he said, simple as breathing together. School hithard whispers trailed us, rumors twisted like seaweed, cruel jabs in hallway, sidelong glances in class. I braced for ejection, but Lucas never wavered, his hand brushing mine in the quad, a defiance park in his grin, steadying me. We facilitate all awkward questions. A teachers frowned together, carving out our own space. Slowly, the noise faded, friends relieved, teachers softened, and our world held firm as graduation near excitement replaced fear, not just for freedom but for us. On that final day, crossing the stage, diploma in hand, I scanned the crowd. There was Lucas standing, tall, grin wide, cheering loud and oh, to drown the rest, his eyes catching mine, warm, proud, stirring a pulse that felt like home. I waved. Smallland, he winked a private promise in the cows, leaving the school hand in hand. Portland say breeze cool on our faces. Ik knew we'd made it, not just through high school, but through something bigger. Levi learned isn't chasing someone to complete you. It's finding the one who makes you believe. Theme possible. Lucas did that, his shoulder grazing mine, as we walked, a quiet heating the touch, grounding me. "We did it." Hesed voice soft, his thumb tracing McKnuckles, sending a shiver through me. Is his hands smiling, ready for everything ahead. "Yeah." Always. The sun sank, painting the sky gold, and our forever stretched out, real messy. Our shy school was just a chapter. With Lucas, every step felt like the start of something unstoppable, a story we'd write a together, no matter what came after. Story 3. Years after graduation, Portland's coastal fog still clung to Luke and Lucas, now 20 and 21. Their love no longer confined to high school halls, but Wavaninto, a life they'd built together. Luke's marine biology at a local college, while Lucas worked at a community center coaching kids and leading queer youth groups. They shared a small apartment overlooking the bay, salt air seeping through open windows. On autumn evening they returned to their beach cabin in Kennebunk, the place where waves once baptized their young loves sitting on the porch stars. Piercing navy sky, Lucas's hand rested near Luke. Fingers grazing his wrist, a warm spark passing in the chilly air stirring memories of their first confessions. Luke's hearts swelled not with doubt, but with certainty. They'd grown stronger, high school had tested them. Whispers glares, but those battles taught Luke his feelings weren't a phase or a flaw, but a truth to embrace. I used to think I had to hide, he told Lucas once. Unpacking years of fear therapy and campus pride groups helped him see his identity gay proud as a strength. Lucas, too, had learned his confidence now tempered with empathy from mentoring teens navigating their own paths that night. Lucas spoke, his breath soft teasing the shell of Luke's ear, sending a shiver through him. Speaking at a youth panel. Homosexuality and self-love, scary, but I want kids to know it's okay to bet them. Luke turned their knees, brushing under the blanket. A quiet heat grounding Thumuel. Be great, he said, eyes catching Lucas's. Warm, steady, you showed me Thather talks had deepened, no longer dodging shadows. Lucas shared stories of kids he coached, some out, some scared me. Luke's old fears, I thought. You meant I was broken, Luke admitted, fingers tracing Lucas's palm, a delicate pulse sparking. You made me see love's just love, no rules, just us. Lucas nodded, his work teaching him that sexuality isn't a box, but a spectrum, fluid, unique. He'd met others. A trans colleague, a bi mentor, whose stories shaped his advocacy. It's not always easy. Lucas said, his arm around Luke's fingers, grazing his shoulder, warmth through his sweater, but it's real when you own it. Luke leaned in their closeness, a silent vow inspired by Lucas's courage to live openly, a lesson in love's honesty. Challenges lingered funly. Tensions, a co-worker's Snyder mark, but their bond held firm, rooted in respect and trust. Luke joined Lucas at a Portland Pride March, banners fluttering, Lucas's hand in his, their lauder, a quiet rebellion. Watching couples of all kinds, Luke saw as life itself, raw, resilient, valid relationships take work. Lucas murmured later, there's holders brushing as they walked, a soft spark in the dusk, but you're worth it. Heaven smiled, thinking of their fights and makeups, each strengthening them. You taught me to fight for us, he said, their eyes locking up. Shared warmth blooming back at the cabin. They cooked cadelbos, grazing in the tiny kitchen, cedar and garlic weaving past into now. Lucas spoke of dreams. Grad school may be a family, his voice alive, steady. Luke listened, his hand brushing Lucas's as Hepis. A plate, a fleeting heat anchoring them. We're not alone, Lucas said, meaning it. Friends, community, each other. Luca nodded, eyes glinting, never felt alone since you. Their story once a spark in his swarmy school was now a beacon, not just hormones but a truth, showing others that sexuality is a journey, not a shame. As they sat under the stars, waves crashing, Luke knew their love messy, real. Carita, lesson embracing who you are, loving boldly builds a life stronger than fear. For every kid wondering, their story whispered, you're enough, and love in all its forms is yours to claim. Thanks for sticking with this story till the end. If it hit home, hit that like button, share it with someone who'd get it, and subscribe to my channel. Best Gay Love Story for more raw, real stories. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss the next tale's music. All from Best Gay Love Story.